TU22 skill builds. Did they just die? Short answer. Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, not sorry. Blame the devs. Blame the devs. They're the ones that did it. They did it. I'm just here to tell you about it. Long answer. Realistically, skill builds have never really been a good thing. And by good thing, I don't mean you can't have fun with them, you can't enjoy them, they're not viable, blah blah blah. But whatever it is you think you can do in a skill build, a red DPS build will do the exact same thing about 10 times faster. That's just the way of it. Sorry. That being said, with the introduction of TU22 and the way in which they've poked at the brand sets and then how skill builds work, although it doesn't seem like a lot, skill builds have actually lost a considerable amount. The reason for this, if we just have a look at what directly influences your weapon's damage outside of brand sets, so we're talking just rolls, obviously the core attribute, weapon handling, theoretically does, but stats-wise, doesn't. Crit chance, yes. Crit damage, yes. Headshot, yes. That's the minor attributes covered. When it comes to the mod slots, we have crit chance, yes. Crit damage, yes. Headshot, obviously. If we then do the same again for skills, skill haste, technically no. Skill damage, yes. Repair skill, no. Status effects, if your skill is a status thing, yes. Skill haste, no. Skill duration, no. And skill repair, no. In short, your skills have a lot less options to get more damage into the build. You're quite literally reliant on skill tiers, brand set bonuses, and 2 attribute rolls. Skill damage and status effect. And that status effect would be if your skill you're using is quite literally a status. For something like the turret and drone, brand set bonuses, skill tiers, skill damage. That is it. So, if we now have a lovely old look at what the devs did to the brand sets, the 2 key ones here being Empress, which is 10% skill health, skill damage, and skill efficiency. They nerfed it to 8% skill efficiency. Thanks. And then Wyvern, which was 10 skill damage, 15 status, 40 duration, is now 8 skill damage, 18 status effect, and 45 skill duration. What they've effectively done is cut the balls off of every skill build. The main problem is going to be Empress. Skill efficiency is huge. Oh, but it's only 1%. Yeah, but it's 1% from an area where we don't have a lot. And 1% skill efficiency gives skill damage, skill haste, skill duration, skill health, repair skill, and status effect. We're now missing 2% of all of that. It's not good. It actively is. Now, the larger problem, realistically, is that a lot of other builds, weapons, gear sets, etc., have been balanced. I don't want to go too much into the nitty-gritty of all of that balancing, but needless to say, for a lot of DPS builds and a variety of other things, they've either basically been kind of left within their sort of little bracket area, or they've gone up by like 1 or 2%. That's it. They're either still where they are, or they've moved up just ever so slightly. Skill builds haven't effectively been touched at all, other than a few percentage nerf points. So where everything else is where it is, or has gone up 1 or 2%, skill builds have de facto dropped 1 or 2%. Because the skills weren't touched in any way, shape or form, and the brand set bonuses were nerfed. Thanks, devs. Really, really, really going after that diversity. I suppose you could call it nerf through negligence. I don't know. Trying to be diplomatic here. Now, obviously, the content in the game hasn't changed. A 1 or 2% drop on skill builds isn't going to make them completely unviable. My point quite simply is skill builds are now in the worst place they have ever been throughout the entire history of the Division 2 for the past 5 years. They are actively in the worst place. They are the worst builds in the game, which is kind of weird to say. Now, depending on your definition of skill builds, I mostly just view skill builds as things like drone turret. The hardwired seeker spam build obviously got a buff, but to me this is just a hardwired build or a seeker spam build. Status effect like Eclipse, it's a status build, and then obviously FI, that's a healer build. There are a lot of people that just hear skill build, and this is all of those builds incorporated. Fair to say they use skill tiers, skill tier, skill build. Got it. But I'm more specifically talking about the standardized turret and drone, regardless of like how you have it set up, etc., etc. Those builds are now no bueno. No thanks. Cheers. Good luck. Now that is actually realistically the end of the video. However, to get that sweet, 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 juicy ad revenue, I need to pull this video out for another 2 minutes. So have fun, good luck, don't die. Enjoy the footage. I don't know.